Okay, my name is Christian Teutscher. In German, you pronounce it Teutscher, and probably in English is Teutscher, but sounds close to torture. If you so if you
Okay,
will pronounce it properly, it's like a toy and a chair, so toy chair. So
noted. Right.
and I'm a Pilates teacher, and I work for my wife. We are
Okay.
located in Nuremberg. She's the boss, and I'm teaching for her, which is
Yes.
good. So
Good.
it's clear from the beginning. Yes.
Right. Nice. And so, do you guys own a studio? Is it a clinic? What are you
Yeah,
actually? Oh,
we own a Pilates studio, and I'm teaching mostly Pilates and fitness and bar. And
okay.
my wife also teaches the same, but she also has passion for yoga. So
All
she's
right.
also a yoga teacher. And sometimes in the beginning, we also taught a little bit of dance,
Yes.
like for adults. But now that was not people were not so interested in that anymore.
Mhm,
So we
mhm.
just had to take it off the schedule. But when someone wants to come and train with us ballet, of course we're going to do some ballet classes.
Yes.
Anyway, all the classes, there are some elements of ballet in there and stuff. So
Okay.
some more, some less, but it's not a real ballet class. So
Yes.
this is what we do. So this is basically our group class studio, and we have in the other room also machines, equipment, Cadillac, chair,
Yes.
reformer, three reformers and stuff. And
Okay.
this is
Cool.
the mat class studio.
Yeah. What brand of equipment is it?
We have my wife. She actually had Shadden Pilates trained in the States, and then she did because she came to Germany, and then she wanted to do again a German license or certification. So she did a Munich Stott Pilates. So we have
Okay.
Stott equipment,
Yes.
and then we recently, because we expanded the studio, then we have a Basi Cadillac and converter. So we have reformer and Cadillac
I see.
in one
Yes.
machine. So
Right.
this is what we have, and I'm certified in Basi.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So now, were you like, how did you find Pilates? Like, was it something like with ballet you were taking classes all the time, or is it something you came into a little bit later?
It's actually a really funny question because my wife started teaching period, and she always her dream was to open a studio, and I was like, okay, I'm going to support her and stuff. We're going to take some Pilates classes with her, and then I realized as a dancer, I thought always dancing is enough. I was like laughing at the people. Why are you going to the gym? Why are you doing extra stuff? Because actually,
Yes.
ballet is one-sided. If you have to lift only with this one arm, your partner,
Hmm.
and then you have to do it 50, 100 times, so you get one-sided. So,
Yes.
and then she trained me the first time on a reformer, and then I couldn't do intermediate exercises.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my goodness, that's not good.
It's not.
And I
Yes.
that's not good. And then I thought I realized also that I had this completely wrong picture in my head. I thought Pilates is something for ladies, just pumping these arms, doing all this stuff. And and then I was completely wrong. And then I was like, oh yes, this is mine. I have to do that. And then I also had the problem with my lower back because I had the wrong technique of lifting.
Uh,
So I had a slip disc
yes.
and didn't feel my leg from the knee to the toe. I couldn't lift my heel up because the nerve was pinched. It was really took me half a year to recover from that. And then
Painful, eh?
it's really painful. I tried some physio stuff with some machines here and there. I went to the gym, tried to create my own program. It didn't work. Pain sometimes came back. So Pilates was the only thing that helped me.
Mm. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now I was in 2009, and since then I started mostly training regularly in 2010, 2011. I don't have any pain anymore. This is so amazing. Always so kind of overwhelmed by this method, by this technique. It
Yes.
works by itself. You just have to teach it properly
Yes.
and try to get the people to do it in their way, in their bodies. And then after everyone is like taller, the shoulders are coming to the back, and you can really feel and see the difference.
Yes.
This is so interesting to me. So
Yeah. Yeah.
this is how I got to Pilates, and
It,
then I
it's
got it.
it's so
Yeah,
fascinating too, right? I mean, because if you come from like the weight training background, it's not every time that you go to the gym and you lift weights that you feel better
yeah,
after
yeah,
you do your work. Like, you know what I mean? Whereas Pilates, you see how like you said, they feel taller, they feel looser, they have more rotation, they have better posture, and walk out of it like, okay, this helped immediately.
exactly.
Yeah.
So this is what is so interesting because some people ask me what is Pilates for me, and I found the phrase which is like Pilates is strengthening muscles through isolation.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
that's for me. So you concentrate. Of course, there work a lot of muscles are working at the same time. But sometimes if you only want this one, so you have to isolate this part to get into this one. And then some people when they go to the doctors, they get a diagnosis, whatever kind of Latin name, no one knows. We don't know all the bones and the
about
stuff. And then
technical
sometimes
names.
they talk about health insurance keys and numbers and stuff like that. And they come home and they're completely like, I don't know what I have. So for
Yes,
me, the thing is also then teaching it in a way that they understand it. I mean, I'm not using, you have to use the latissimo dorsi, you have to do this one because then you lose people. They
right,
completely shut off because they don't understand it.
right. Yes, it's
So
so
I'm
funny.
trying, yeah.
Sorry, you say that too, and like my brother, you see, Ferber just came on there, Phil, and
Okay.
I remember when he was working with like as a physiotherapy assistant, he would have people doing an exercise, and instead of calling the exercise, well, now we're going to do a lat activation or shoulders, whatever. He would just give them the exercise and then ask the people to name the exercise so they could remember what
Yeah.
it is. So be like, okay, we just did this. What would you like to call this exercise? And then
Yeah.
they would say, well, we're going to call it the arm spinny thing. I was like, okay, cool. So we're calling it the arm spinny thing. So instead of getting into like technical names and technical terms, you just let them move and even let them name the moves so that they remember. So when they're working on their own,
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
it's, it stays with them. So they get better by just having that own sense of retention to it. So I always thought that that was a good technique. Just to add on to what you're saying there about, not getting technical with the name, but just letting them feel it and move it, but now giving them the power to name it so that they remember it as well.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. This is just now probably because all this, well, we have this crisis. I don't want to call that name out because we on the media everywhere. We know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
And the people, what I was talking this week about, they're losing their connection to their body because they're just
Mm-hmm.
afraid. The fear is coming in. Then the shoulders are coming up because they're going in this kind of protection kind of situation, kind of position. So, and just
Yes.
some people also really changed their mindset because they're full of
Yes.
fear. And then
Mm.
getting them into the studio, then like you can take your mask off here in the studio.
Yeah.
We have the windows open. I can keep my mask on. Just want them to feel safe in the place where they can
Yes.
feel themselves again. And
Mm-hmm.
this is sometimes so hard for them to open up, to be
Yes.
also open. Yes.
Yeah, I can see like what you're saying. So, and like, yeah, there's his comment there. There was a lot of buy-in with that, and then like more engagement as a result of it.
Hmm.
So, Christian, so what do you see with the people? Like you're saying, like there's a more tenseness. Like, do you see like within your clients that difference based on this climate that we're in terms of
Hmm.
how their body moves and stuff? Are you noticing that?
Yeah, I mean, of course, the people that come to the studio, they're not the afraid ones because they go out there. Because we also have virtual classes since March, since the lockdown in Germany,
Hmm.
and now we're combining virtual classes and the classes here in the studio. We only have spots for 4 persons, but that's enough. Yeah,
Yes.
sometimes I mostly see it in the shoulders. So the shoulders, they
Hmm.
they come slightly to the front and they come up, and there's this
Yes.
tension because they're at home and they don't have their normal office desk anymore. They're doing home office on the dining
Right.
table, and the
Right.
chair is too high and the table is too low, and then they just the shoulders come to the front, the neck is painful. So this is what I mostly see. But then from this one also just that what I start with mobilizing first,
Hmm.
for example, the shoulders and stuff, and then I go into a little bit of strengthening to get the shoulder where it normally is.
Yes. So technically speaking, then you found out like you've been basically changing your approach. Maybe like what would have been a like your normal warm up is now different based on the needs of everybody at this
Yeah,
time. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, makes
yes.
sense. Yeah.
Then yeah, it makes sense. And also when we talk about this virtual classes, that what you're asking before, and also when you sent me the message, is that I realized that most of the people were saying, I don't want to do virtual. I don't want to have my phone at home. I don't want to have my iPad or
Yes.
whatever at home. And I want to come to the studio, I want to do real life. And now these kind of people, they stay at home and they say, it's actually quite convenient. In the morning, I could have my
Mm.
coffee, I can do the stuff, I could stay at home, I can save time because in the end, even in the evening, I'm already at home. I don't have to take my car, my bike, find a parking spot and stuff like that. So
Yes.
I'm so surprised that we sometimes have more virtual people attending the classes than people in the studio. Of course, because it's limited. But
Yes.
it's so interesting how that changed. If we would have told, or like everyone, if everyone would have told the
Yes.
clients, in a couple of months we're going to do everything virtual, they're going to be like, "Are you insane? I'm not
Yeah,
going to
yeah. They'd be
join."
like,
Yeah,
bye. Yeah.
yeah. So that's why I also think the climate what we're in changed, but sometimes I try to see more positive stuff than all
Yes.
the negative stuff. Of
Yeah.
course, all the people there passed away. Of course, I'm really sorry for that. But there are also like opportunities we can definitely have to see and open and use, and not, I'm kind of saying sitting at home and saying the world is bad.
Right.
Sometimes what tendencies of some people. Yes.
Yes. I hear like you're very like dancing around your opinions of this whole pandemic because we're healthy people, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
one of the I won't say memes, but one of the statements that have been made around here is the government mandates masks, but they're not mandating cardio exercise.
Yes.
If you're going to spend that much time mandating that we wear a mask, why don't you mandate respiratory exercises so your body is strong enough to repel whatever is
Yeah.
coming at you?
Yeah. I mean, that would be also interesting. The doctors here, they're recommending 150 minutes per week of cardio, like the cardio is like 140 heart rate, more or less. So
Mm-mm-mm.
150 minutes, this is like 2.5 hours. I mean, and then the
Yeah.
people like always, they are saying, for example, I don't have time to do 90 minutes workout. I was like, okay, don't do 90, do 5, do 10, do whatever you
Yes.
can. Every second, every minute counts. And then
Yes.
people with the mask, I understand they don't take the stairs anymore.
Okay.
They're taking their cars. But on the other side, I was also saying that people are using the bike much more here than before.
Ah, yes.
So because they are not going to go in the public transport because I don't want to wear a mask with the whatever 90 Fahrenheit outside, you know.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so they take the bike. So that's
Right.
also good. But
That's
I
good. So
understand.
then, yeah. So they're riding their bike, and then they come and do Pilates, and they're riding home. They're winning. Like,
Yeah, yes. I mean, yes. This is the best you can do. Some people are like, ah, yes, I'm going to do my 30 minutes or 50 minutes walking. Sometimes people walking more. They're like, it's 40 minutes to walk home. And I say, okay, 40 minutes. That's not a problem. And in the end, just to calm down after an evening class or yoga class, to contemplate, think about a little bit about what happened in the class, and then you're home, ready to bed, eat something or something small, and then done. It's perfect.
yes. Yes. Thanks, Emily, for joining us today. She's she has to run. Um,
Okay.
yes. Now we were talking earlier just before we came online about like activity and sport. You're saying that that's a passion for you. Can you just talk more about the importance of activity?
Activity for me, it was always part of my life. I started moving when I was 10.
Mhm.
So like every day moving 7, 8 hours. And now if I don't do it, it's just something is missing. I feel like, okay, it's like it should be for some people like eating, drinking, grocery shopping should be part of your life. It's not like if some people make a big thing out of it, like I have to go to the gym, I made this one. No, no, that's normal. Just go, and they're like, I went this, I did this. So sometimes I don't understand, but I don't want to sidetrack. So for me, it's activity is spending time with myself. I'm doing different stuff. I like to lift weights. I'm doing Pilates. I do the bar class. I'm running. I'm on the bike, which is really important. But what I enjoy the most is now, recently, lately, is running. Because I
Okay.
put my AirPods in, have my iPod with me. I just go out, even half an hour, it's enough. I'm not looking for the pace. I'm not looking, just being outside. This is what also
Yes.
in the lockdown, we're only allowed to leave for groceries and if you had to go to the doctor, or everyone knows. And I
Yes.
was with my bike almost every day out.
Yes.
And it was so important for me to leave the apartment to make myself free. And I like this feeling of freedom when I move. Even if I'm completely exhausted when I come back, but the next day when I get up, I was like, the soreness. I feel my legs, I feel my body.
Yes.
I'm not a machine. I'm not a teaching machine. I'm not an office worker who is just,
Mhm. Mhm.
just like to feel this pain. I'm not talking about pain. Pain is
Right.
just talking about this little soreness
Yes.
of,
Body
yeah, and then,
awareness, right? Like,
yeah, this connection, body awareness, exactly. And this is, and I try to give that feeling to most of the people, like, maybe try to do this and do a little bit here. Just move. It's
just
not
move.
important. Just move. It doesn't have to be a lot. And do some hip lifts, do some whatever, some tilts with your pelvis or whatever you want to do at home or in the morning, but do it. And then once
Yes.
it comes the routine, and you maybe for 2 weeks you have to push yourself a little bit to get into this activity. But
Hmm.
then when you don't do it, you're going to miss it. And when this kicks in, then you're addicted.
Yes, exactly. And that's what we need to like, just to break that cycle, right? And I'm very big
Yeah.
on habits where it's like, okay, well, it's not necessarily about getting to the end goal as much as just do it today. And then can you do that tomorrow? Like one of my clients sent me some stuff about her nutrition. She said I had this really clean eating day. I was like, that's fantastic. Can you do
Yeah.
that again today?
Hmm.
Like, is it possible? Is it sustainable? And she's like, yeah. So, okay, good. Well, let's just put together 2 days like that.
Yeah.
That's the only ask. And then tomorrow I'll be like, can you do that again? Can you
Yeah.
do that again? Right? Yeah. So that activity piece is so key, and that ties into like self care too, right? Because that helps clear our mind. That helps us to feel better. That helps us to take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is important because and then you can only win with movement, with seconds. Of course, then we have to be careful that we don't talk into this movement addiction, what some people also run into it, because then they do more and more and more and more.
Yes.
But if we talk about normal movement, then it's you only can win with every exercise, every second you spend with yourself. And it's so interesting that also the body is giving back in kind of you feel happy, you feel yourself. And this is for me
Mhm.
important. I can't imagine a life without movement. I know with the years I have to adapt. I had to bring down the intensity, but I want to move as long as I can.
Yes, yes. I always love, Christian, I love to ask this question to people who like work with different athletes or different types of people, and you in a
Yeah.
studio setting. Who would you say is like your ideal client? Like the type of people that you love when they come in, you're just like, yes, let's go. This is gonna be
Yeah.
fun.
This is actually a really interesting question. What I was thinking about the other day, like the past weeks, because sometimes the people when they come in, they're really open and everything is easy. Sometimes with them, it's with each class. Sometimes it gets difficult and different. But some
Hmm.
people they come in and they're just sometimes okay. I don't know, I'm not really sure and what I want to do. And you think like, is that really the client for me? Is that really? But then
Yes.
you dig deeper, you continue. But my ideal client is actually what Hannah always says is like older ladies, like
Hmm.
50,
Hmm.
60, because and what is interesting then is in the beginning because they like me, a younger man is training them, and it's
Right.
also this feeling they can tell the people, their friends, I was training with that guy,
Yes,
and
yes,
you know what I mean. It's also the attraction, not in a sexual way, attraction just like okay, I feel safe. So
yes,
this is why I think where this I think it's the ideal client. So in between
mm,
50, 60, where they have some issues and they can tell me, they can explain it to me, and then I can, if I don't know how to work with it, and I look it up and I come
yes.
up with a training plan, and then okay, let me try this one, let me try this one. And
Hmm.
then I also had recently one, she was training with me already 40, 50 times, and then we find that she had problems with the piriformis. And I was just like, okay, let's try and find that out what this is. And she
Yes.
never, and then she has this way back, and she told me I never could do ab work without having back pain.
Ah,
And that's why I was like, okay, let's have a look into it. Okay, you have a sway back, so please leave your lower back on the floor, on the mat when you lift your chest and stuff, because she was going into this arch and stuff like that.
yes,
So that's
yes,
really interesting. And then when I can really dig deeper and when I can really get the next layer, the next step, and the people are understanding, so I can continue with them, and then where I excel the most. This is where I feel.
yes.
And then I struggle with the people. They're just sometimes a little bit like, I want to do this. I want to gain weight. I don't want to gain muscles. I want to lose weight really fast now, but I don't want to sweat. I was like,
Hmm.
this, let me. Of course, of course, I don't want to tell them wrong and go home. No, I'm,
Right.
I'm not the kind of person. I try to find my way. So I have the feeling sometimes that I learn more from people that come to our studio than what they
Yes.
learn from me, because I'm trying
Yes.
to adapt in a positive way. I'm trying to
Right.
always put it. in a positive way, not like, okay, it makes no sense with you, go home, it's a waste of money. It,
Right.
it makes no it's true, because I want to help them, because sometimes I just have to find a way how to how to get them, just making again movements with my hand, and
Yes. Yeah.
how to find this one. So I think I excel with this kind of the most. But sometimes also when dancers come in and I know exactly what kind of exercise I have to do, because I felt it with myself, because they have
Yes.
so much flexibility, they can lift their legs, but once you start with stability work with them, they fall apart.
Right.
They fall apart.
Yes. So what's your favorite exercise then to give someone who can just, like, their leg circles are big and everything's like these big flowing movements? Like, how do you
Yeah,
pull them back in?
I'm just doing first side lying stuff.
Okay.
And then try to let them lift the leg up, and then you see that for example, if you do the side lifts for the obliques,
Yes.
and then you see how the legs are moving to the back, so the back extensor is kicking in because they're so flexible in their spine. So I
Yes.
just start with this one, and then in the old times before the pandemic, I put my feet around their waist or their upper body, so they felt,
Yes.
and then
That feedback.
and then they were doing this one. That was this is what I do. But of course, you can give this dancers sometimes I think you can give this big exercise, but I actually go the opposite.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
I give them beginners exercise, because you have to start from the top. Because when they are starting the same with me, starting to move, they just learned it with coordination, repetition. No one told them, there's the hamstring here, or you have to look for your shoulder, and then you have to do for this one. They just learned it through movement, not through. And then also I learned I never did external rotation properly. I was always going in my hyperextension of my knees. Then my femur internally rotated, and I lost my external rotation and stuff
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
I learned it in the end, so it's so interesting.
Yeah, we were talking about that this morning, myself with one of the trainers here, about that, always educating our people, right? Because Christian, it's
Hmm.
easy to just give them an exercise. Okay, do a roll up, do leg circles, do hundreds, and we just read off, and they can move. But then always in that process of educating them on their own bodies.
Yeah. This is it sometimes takes a while with this education. Some people they're picking up really fast, and what I realized also, the people they're moved in the younger age, like when they're a teenager, um, like more consistent, they have a much better coordination and connection to the body.
Yes,
Then
right.
people, when they start with the a little later with 30 or 40, they start, now I want to do Pilates, and now they're going to do this stuff. And
Yes,
this is just the difference. But and then sometimes you're praising like the priest in the church, don't do this, maybe try it like that, go
right.
for this, and then they're like, and then after 100 or 150 times they're saying then, oh, now I got it, now I know what you mean. I was like,
Mm.
I'm not saying that. This is what I was talking about the past couple of sessions,
Right.
But all this stuff was bringing this person to the point of understanding it. So it was not
Yes,
a waste of time.
right. Even though it might
This
have
is,
felt like it at the time.
yeah, maybe for me, I feel like, okay, maybe I tried this exercise because it didn't work and she didn't get it. Maybe, no, I'm going to do the same, because it was already confusing enough for her, for him, doing new and new and new exercise. But
Yes.
this is just so interesting. Also, I was thinking about these clients, what kind of different clients I wanted to kind of to myself make a little
Yes.
workshop sometimes for people, because I had the feeling when I was starting, when I learned the Pilates, that I was missing something. I wanted to learn, for example, how to make a program. I wanted to learn what kind of clients are out there. Some people, they don't want to do Pilates, they don't want to do fitness. Some people, they need this. Some people, you can do
Yes.
this one. So it would be interesting for people, they just in the beginning of their teaching, to have something for them where they just can learn.
Yes.
But
Right. Yeah, exactly. No, I think, and also in that too, that makes you think about teaching styles, right? Like how,
mhm.
like, I'm sure you must have communicated the same exercise in like 19 different ways to get them to move and for it to make sense. And then finally it clicks,
Yeah.
right? So the, Brett Howard was on, and one of the questions that he asks himself, he has a new client come in, it's just like, you're not trying to decipher so much about how do they move or what injuries they have. He's trying to decipher right from the beginning, what is their teaching style?
Mm-hmm.
Do you need me to demonstrate every single exercise, get down on the mat and demonstrate it for you and come back up? Do you need me to be more hands-on, like
Yeah,
obviously,
yeah,
or more verbal cues, or more like, that sort of thing. So the faster we can decipher how it is that people learn, that
yeah,
connection to the exercise comes faster, right? So
yeah.
I've been learning that for myself too, like not to get so deep into the exercise as much as to interpret how this person is going to receive how I'm teaching it.
Yeah, yeah, it's important because sometimes in the beginning, when you start already pelvic curl with all these names from Pilates, they're like overwhelmed. It's just I'm trying to let's say connect them with Pilates and
Yes.
make them addicted. So and then when they come back, then you can start step by step. Because some
Yes.
people, especially men, when the ladies like there was a lady, she came in. I want to buy. My man has my person. My husband has to do Pilates. I was like, okay, let's set him in, do a try class. No. I want to buy him a 10 class card. He hasn't been in the studio. She hasn't been in the studio.
Yeah.
And then he came, and now he's in 2 years every time, once a week, he's
Yes.
doing his practice.
Amazing.
I just like, this is amazing. And sometimes you have people, I want to start, I'm going to book 400,000. You never hear from them again.
Yes. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So in the beginning, teaching is I always ask them a couple, one, two, three questions. One question is, do you have pain? You have any injuries? Second question is, what are your goals?
Okay.
And then from there, I kind of know what can I do, because someone comes in and then you had a workout, something planned, and then the right hand isn't working, the back is just kind of, you cannot do this and this exercise, and then your whole what you prepared for the person is done. You know,
Yeah.
you have to be spontaneous, and then kicks experience in.
Yes.
And if you don't have the experience, then sometimes it's gonna be either not good for the coach or either not good for the person who's attending the class.
Right.
So
And
this
well,
is
that and the other part too is just thinking about like your experience, but trusting your experience, right? Like, because we've taken classes,
yeah.
we've taken workshops and stuff. Like, do you know what you know? Can you just like, are you confident with your skill set that you can be like, we are going to that piece over there because that's going to help you. Let's go,
Yeah.
right? That sort of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is also interesting because I just make a little loop back when I came to Pilates. I was a dancer. I would say I was I was a great dancer because I was let's
Professional.
professional. Yes, I made it. Not many people made it professionally up there, and then you have to give up that, and you're going to start with something new where you're not good at anymore. So
Yes.
your confidence goes down. So it took me a while to get this one back and to stand. This is me. This is my class. This is how I teach, but not like really strict, bam, bam, bam. It's just, this is my personality. I'm going to do this one. This is going to be good for you. And I was struggling with that quite a bit in the beginning with finding my way of teaching, coming from dancing and
Yes.
not understanding why people can't move. Because you
Yes.
tell a dancer, lift your right arm and your left leg, they have no problem. If you tell it with
Right.
someone you never heard of arm and leg, then they're like, what? And
Yeah.
then they get confused, and
They're
then it's like,
confused. Yeah.
oh, yeah.
Yeah. The
So,
how long did it take you to find that confidence? Because I've heard it said this way, like you need to find your words.
yeah, exactly. And also the same thing, dance is a non-verbal stuff. You don't talk. You're not allowed to talk. Everyone is telling you basically, shut up, do your job, Because if you
Yes.
don't do it, someone else is waiting. There's so many dancers, especially they come to Germany. We have a great culture, like a couple of great theaters here. So they all come, they're waiting behind the door. So
Yes.
then finding my voice and speaking like that. For example, the interview now, 6 years, 5 years ago, I couldn't do it because I couldn't express. I was like, I could. You see, now I'm coming in with my hands and all this expression, what we do with
Yes.
dancers, we're
Yes.
like moving a lot around, but
Yes.
it's just basically bringing it to one, like the essence of what's here in your head. That's not easy. So it took me probably 5 6 years, 5 years.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
I'm starting feeling it, but still sometimes I have this kind of moments where I like, that was not so confident. Where is that coming from? Why did that
Yes.
person make you insecure? You know, when someone comes in with like, this is me and blah, 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 you're like, no. But then you're going to stand your person and you say, okay, this is what we do. This is how it is.
Yes.
And sometimes also like, okay, then I'm not the right coach for you. Then I'm not the right
See,
studio for you.
that's
Saying this one.
maturity, right? That's
Yeah.
maturity because we feel
Yeah.
like we have to be all things to all men.
Yeah. No, that's not then that's just also saying that this kind of word like no. It's really
Hmm.
hard to say no. Okay, then it's like already what he said, she said no. It's like, did I do something wrong? No is always connected with something negative. I don't know why. It is no, it's negative. Let's say it also depends how you use it. But
Context, yes.
yeah, in the context. That's why it brings me. I have so many things in my head today. That brings me again to
I
because
like
I did the
pulling these
work.
up. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're just pulling all the stuff out of me. Just let me know when it's done. Is it okay when we talk about positive and effective
Hmm.
cueing?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Is that something what is because I did once a workshop also from this is kind of I don't want to call him my mentor because I haven't told him yet.
Yes.
Do you
Oh,
he
by the
there's
way.
a no I like him as a person because as when I was starting to learn doing the education in Pilates there's so many ladies out there, nothing against ladies, they're doing a
Yes.
perfect job in Pilates, but I wanted to feel the energy of a man, how a man
Yes.
is teaching. I was
Yes.
always really, and it was hard for me finding someone where I feel this one. And that's this one man, he's located in London. He's actually from Israel, but he lives already for over 10 years in London. His name is Amit Younger. I don't know if you heard of him.
Yes,
He's
I think I
really,
follow
he's,
him. Yeah.
yeah, I like him so much. I did with my wife a couple of duets and stuff via Zoom with him was really great. And I had once the chance attending before all this craziness, a workshop was 2 or 3 years ago, was positive cueing, positive and effective cueing.
Okay.
And then for me, that was so eye-opening in a way that, for example, then when you try to explain a really easy exercise, the spine twist supine, you're going to do this, 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 and then already done. The people are like, it's too much information. They already
Too
shut
much.
down. They kind of process and done. So then also giving a correction, one phrase correction. So
Yes.
you're going to say, I want you to do this, less this, done. And then
Yes.
and this is what is I practiced this one and I realized, oh my God, I was using way too many words and I was confusing the people, I was confusing
Yes.
myself.
Right.
And that was so interesting. And then through also this Zoom teaching, I couldn't show it.
Hmm.
I couldn't show the exercise because you can either give a tactile cue, you touch the person, you give a
Right.
verbal cue, or you show it. This is
Right.
a kind of the three things you can do. What he was talking about in the workshop, and I couldn't show this anymore. So I had to find a way of expressing it, and then I realized I always use the same word. I said a little bit 500 times in 10
Yes.
minutes. And
Yes.
Hannah and my wife was just saying, why are you using this word? This is so confusing. Why are you
Mm.
doing this? And I was like, no, I'm not using this word so much. Not never say little, 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 little.
Yeah.
And then I had to really concentrate to not
Yes.
use the words. And then
That's
also
great
not to
though.
use, yeah, also
Yeah.
not using the word not and no and
Like
don't.
negative cues. Yeah, like it's
Yes,
called, yeah,
negative
you
cues.
don't want to cue to the negative. You want to cue to the positive. Raise this
Yes.
as opposed to don't drop your leg sort of
Yeah,
thing. Yes.
or just think, can you do it more like that, less like that?
Yes.
So this kind of thing that was really really interesting, and I learned, and actually there was also the positive thing. And now everyone is doing what I say. I mean, not like a drill instructor, sergeant, stuff
Mhm.
like that, but lift your arm up. Of course, you can lift your arms in many kind of position. Okay, fingertips towards the ceiling. I mean, there's always some people it's just like that, but they mainly do what I want. And then when I teach a new exercise or a new variation or something, of course, then sometimes I show it or
Yes.
just
Right.
so
There's a
there's also yeah
oh sorry, there's a phrase that I learned in my one of my courses I took, which I love, which is almost what you're saying. They said to use an economy of words.
yeah
And I love that phrase, economy of words. So it's not like, the leg circles, like lift your leg up and then circle it around and do this. Da, 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 da. You can give 19 cues, or you can be like, leg up, circle, go, bigger, stop. other way. Go, like, I mean, like,
Yes.
there's a, like, what's the least amount of words you can use to get the person moving correctly?
Yes, exactly. And then he was also saying, depending on the technique and how advanced the person is, you can give maximum up to 2 to 3 cues for one
Uh,
exercise.
yes,
Because if you're a beginner and you say bring your belly button in, whatever, watch your chin and stuff like that, it's already, done.
yes,
And we
they're
were
gone.
really practicing this one in this workshop. We just were next to each other and we're just doing some stuff and exercise. Okay, choose one exercise, show it to me, and you're going to see something. And also, is it necessary to correct that you have to point your toes? Is it
Mhm.
is it really necessary to put the
Yes,
t-shirt away or to the side because you can see a little bit of skin, And
yes,
this is so interesting just to see, to observe, and then I'm going to give it like that.
yes.
And then also the question, why are you giving it like that? So
Mhm.
because it's
Yes.
all it's really
Those are all those
it's
good
really
layers, right? Like those are all great layers to make us better as coaches,
a long
teachers.
time to practice that,
Yes,
and because concentrating what going through the plan and then putting this into it. But now it's because you find your way of setting up exercises and it's the same all the time, even if
yes,
it's really boring. The same thing, like this fitness industry or the social medias, they want to always invent new exercise to train your abdominal muscles. I mean, it's a
yes,
chest lift, you just lift your chest and that's it. I mean, what
yes.
do you want more? You don't have to invent something else.
Right, right, right.
So
Yeah. But I like,
it's also,
it's you when you talk about that, I was going to say that earlier in an early part of the conversation, we have we feel that sometimes that we need to impress our clients with new exercises and fancy ways of doing stuff. But there's something to be said for teaching them the same exercises week over week so they can see how much they're improving with it.
yes,
Right? And I
yeah,
think that like we as teachers, we get caught up in confuse the muscle, make it faster, teach it in fancy ways, razzle dazzle them with all these different things. When the reality is that if we're teaching the same exercise week over week and celebrating their progress within those exercises, like we keep our eyes open, we're
yeah,
cueing, and then like maybe it is the last thing to correct is the toe point because they've got everything else. That's
yeah,
different than them being fussy with, with 20 cues for the one
yeah,
exercise.
yes.
So there's something to be said for just teaching the exercise and then teaching the same exercise so the clients can see how they're getting better at it since the last time they did the exercise.
Yes, it's the progress. Yeah, I mean, this is like the difference in between the classical Pilates and like the contemporary Pilates
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
things that, for example, what is like the pole star, folks? Not pole star. What's the
Polestar?
peak Pilates? There's a
Yes.
peak Pilates here in Erlangen, which is like 20 minutes with the train. They have a big peak Pilates center,
Okay.
and from what I know, they always have the same exercise all the time
Yes.
and break it
Yeah.
up. But it's, I completely agree. We don't have to make up a new exercise and a new variation of this and this. Sometimes keep it simple, teach Pilates, and everyone's going to get their workout.
Yes. And that's,
It's just,
sorry, go ahead.
oh yeah, continue. Sorry.
Yeah, and that's the thing, I've loved actually about this quarantine is that as I've had these conversations with instructors, people who are like authentic Pilates people who are contemporaries, someone who is a master trainer for Stott and someone who is, trained by Romana directly, um, you have these conversations and the conversation has been less about contemporary versus classical and more
Mm,
about keeping people moving,
yeah,
which I love.
I've I would agree. I mean, if you want to teach this exercise the same time, I agree. Like you said, as long as you move, as long as you don't get stuck with one exercise, you just do the pelvic tilt for 55 minutes. It's minus movement, but it's not going to bring anything.
Right.
But I think yeah, that's a great point. Just moving,
Mhm.
and that's just
Yes.
sometimes so hard and not so easy, I
Yes.
would say.
As soon as we started to open up our conversation here, I'll read this comment first, and I'll ask you my question about rest. Plies Misty says, "I worked at a studio that demanded each class be completely different, and that was exhausting as the instructor was not effective for the class." Yeah, it's true. Like that's what happens if they're trying to, make it different every single time. people don't
Yeah.
even get to celebrate, like you said, celebrate progress. Like people don't even know
Yeah.
if they're progressing. If you're seeing different things every single time,
Yes. Then
it's
the question for me is, did all the same people attended the class each week? So, for example, in the big fitness club, you never see the same people at the same time. Some yes, some not. So, do they realize that you teach the same class? Do they remember? Are they like dancers putting this information in? So, this is sometimes what I ask myself. So, but I also understand if they want a different class all the time because they get fast bored by stuff. So, then take a Pilates exercise and just switch the arms and switch the legs, and then you have a completely different workout.
yes, right, exactly.
So
Yeah. Those are the fun things for myself, like you're saying, with clients who want to work hard but don't sweat, and then you're kind of forced to like be creative with it.
yes,
I like finding different nuances to exercises. So that saying like the pelvic, if you told me you have 55 clients with a client, 55 minutes with a client, and you could only do a pelvic lift or pelvic tilt and go, how many ways can you make that more, more difficult for them? How many variations can you give of that same exercise? How can you get them to articulate in different ways? I like those kind of challenges, and I think our
yeah,
clients like it too, because then they learn more about their body. Oh, I did this and I realized that I can initiate from here, or
yeah,
it's easier on with one leg up in the air than on the other leg, right? Like those kind of
yeah.
things. So there's challenges that can be found within even doing the exact same exercises week over week. Not that
Hmm.
I'm not afraid to change exercises, but I think that as teachers, the onus is on us to make the class engaging enough that they come back if it's the exact same 9 exercises or if it's a different 9 exercises every single week.
Yeah, yes. I mean, if you let's say a good teacher, you can do 55 minutes only doing pelvic tilts. It's just
Yes.
like this person. If you, I had one person. She came over from a bank in her lunch pause, and she just wanted to work out and not sweating. And then of course in summer we don't have ACs here in Germany.
Yes.
Sometimes it's hot, so I put the fan all the way in her face, and I was like, "It's too hard. I'm sweating." I mean, of course, then what you can do, and then you're going to take the intensity down, and then you don't
Yes.
have the results you want.
Right.
So then
Exactly.
is then, and then is what I said. Then you have to say, "I'm sorry, I'm not the right studio for you."
Yeah, that would be frustrating for me, I must say.
Yeah, I know it's frustrating, but on this thing, it's not failing.
No.
It's
Right.
just it's just okay. I'm not. It's the same thing. Why should you eat something what you don't like? Why should you go to a restaurant you don't like? Why should you be with someone you don't enjoy time spending with?
Yes.
This is the same thing. You don't go
Same
back
thing.
to a restaurant. I hate the food. I hate the waitress. I hate all the stuff. But I keep on coming back. That's like, okay, there's something wrong there. Hmm.
Right.
You know.
Yes. Yep, exactly. I was asking, the question I was going to ask you earlier was about rest.
Hmm.
And so just what's, you said that you've kind of caught yourself. So tell me what you've been learning about yourself when it comes to rest with your activity and your work and all those different things.
Yeah, first of all, I was then training too much, and then the next day I was just like, "Oh wait, why? What's going on? Why can't you do this one?" It was working the times before, and my heart rate was already up, and everything was really hot. And then I was like, "Okay." By the time I realized I was exhausting myself, not training. So
Mm,
also in the training, you can maybe do little points here and there. You make it really hard, but you cannot keep the heart rate up for like 400 hours. I'm exaggerating.
yes, yes.
And then with resting is also what I like is still doing movements, but on a lower intensity. For example, that you do because if your practice is pretty advanced, then you can take a beginner's class
Yes.
and just look. You know the exercise, you go one
Hmm.
step down, you really look for the basics and stuff. You don't look for the 100, you don't look for being exhausted, you don't
Right.
look for the stuff, but you still move.
Yes.
And for me also then I use to rest is sometimes also saying today I don't move.
Yes.
It makes no sense. Just allowing yourself, it's okay. You're
Give
not gonna
yourself
gain,
permission to not
yes,
move.
yeah, you're not gonna gain
Interesting.
400 pounds. You're not gonna do all the stuff. It's just and enjoy that, enjoy
Hmm.
being not to move. And of course,
Yes.
everyone is moving. You walk, you breathe. Body takes energy to stay alive. But this not moving aspect, I'm really bad at.
Yes. Yes.
They still have to learn how to rest. And yeah, and the resting also for me is just sometimes also in here.
Yes.
Because then if you're preparing yourself for a challenge, preparing yourself for something, you always have that in your head. Of course, it helps you being focused, but on the other side, you also then have to let go. It's the same thing when you come into a Pilates class and you still have your grocery list in here. And after the class, I have to go there. After the class, I have to go there. I have to go there. It makes no sense. It's just, okay, concentrate, be present. What I was
Be
supposed to.
present.
The other,
Yes.
yeah, and this one I just caught myself the whole time. I was like, this one, I'm gonna take this exercise, and this one, no, that not doesn't work. It's also kind of resting, not to think. Like the other
Yes.
day, there was a client. I had a hard time finding my way teaching her, and she's a meditation teacher. And she told me like meditation, or what she does is the thoughts are passing, but she doesn't give them attention. It's like on the main station. The trains are passing, people are going in, people come, but you're not affected by that. You
Yes.
don't want to take that train. You
Right.
just stay there. And then once your mind is going with that train, but you pull yourself back and you're going to stay. This one
Good
is
visual.
also
Yes.
this is also important, because you can have a nice and rested body, but your brain is just thinking and more and more and more. That also makes no
Yes.
sense.
So just to summarize what you just said there, I love that. So one of them is rest can be movement.
Yeah,
Another one is rest can be stillness.
yeah,
And the third one was rest can be just a mind break, like just be present with where you
yeah,
are, sort of thing. And fourth is
yeah,
just to
yeah.
like actually not give time to that space and the distractions, to clear all those distractions out. So like those 4 levels of rest that we've just covered today. You should write a
Yeah,
course on that, Christian.
yeah. I mean, it's because the thing is that some people or think that for themselves, what I sometimes see also, people, they don't have so much attention on, for example, social media and stuff, but doing really good stuff, but they don't have the confidence to go out there and this is me, this is how I teach, I'm pretty good,
Yes.
here I am, this is me. And then you see other people, they have like, I don't want to talk too much about
I
social
know.
media.
Yeah, but yeah.
Just one more phrase, and they don't know what they're talking about. You don't see. I mean, it's the same thing. You're not going to take a fitness class with someone who's 50 pounds overweight. I mean, it could happen because of an injury or something,
Yes, yes.
or this.
But
This
the
is what I mean.
credibility piece.
Yeah, it's this kind of, okay, I see that you're aware of yourself, you're taking care of your body, and I trust you to train me. This is important. But anyway, the whole entire world changed the fitness industry.
Yes.
It's like you don't need a six pack in order to not have back pain. You don't need that. It's just other muscles are much more important, and they are always going six pack. You need your six pack. You
Yeah,
need to
it's too much.
You need
Too
to.
much.
Yeah, it's just like I'm always shaking my head. I'm like, oh no. And then then people are coming into the studio. Oh, I read this article. I read this one. Is that true? This and this, and it's like, you want my real opinion, or what kind of opinion do you want?
Right.
This is kind of really
That's it.
interesting, I would say.
We have talked for like 55 minutes, Christian. We are at 3 minutes left.
Oh
Isn't that
yes,
crazy?
that was so fast. I have always, I think about this kind of things all the time, because I want to improve. I want to become a better person, and through the clients they come, I want to become a better teacher.
Yes.
And I'm not just like, okay, I learned this exercise, it's always going to stay like that, and it's never going to change.
Yeah, I know. Just keep evolving, man. Keep getting better. I love your posts. You move so well. I love how informative all of your
Yeah.
exercises are, and I don't have a dancer body or that ballet body, so even my swimmers this morning look like half as good as yours. But thank you.
But it doesn't matter how great. Of course, this is the little extra point you get when it looks good. But at the end, you're firing the same muscles like I do, and it's not important. So, and if you point your feet and it looks like a belly dancer, is something I don't look for it. I just look for that the muscle activity is there.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah.
this is
Anyway,
that's what it was.
But you look good when you're doing it anyway. So.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, man.